I know it's been a while. I'll give a little update on the horses. Just something a little bit more exciting and happy. I got surprised with something that, as far as where the channel will be going, if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to.
My buddies, my boars.
Hi everyone, welcome back. I know it's been a while and I'm here today to explain what's been going on and share a few new updates around the farm. We'll just give a little update on the horses since they were the main part of the channel, and I'm sure you all are wondering how they're doing. You remember we had 9 horses last time we saw you a year and a half ago, but things have changed a little bit. We now only have 5, and I will explain where the other 4 went. The 5 that we still have today: Sally, one of our original 2, our 21-year-old Sally. She doesn't look or act 21, that's for sure. Mable, are part of our second team that we got. Mable is maybe just a little bit younger than Sally, probably 19, 20-ish. Still doing good. And we also have Charlie. He's one of our boys out of the last team that we got. He's 11 this year. Also still doing really good. And then over here, Riley, our second boy. Riley is 16, 6-ish, somewhere in there, 15, 16 probably. Also still doing really well. And then she might be hard to see because she's not with us right now, but Jenny is out in the field. We got her with Mable, around the same age. The reason she's out there is she's currently dealing with a hoof abscess that she's working through. She's getting through it really well, but she doesn't walk around too much, and we kind of let her decide if she's gonna come up with everybody else or not, and usually she decides not to, so she stays out in the pasture. Those are the 5 that we still have. Quick little background to the other 4. One was Izzy. She was our Sally's teammate, 22 years old about, and we unfortunately lost her in September of 2024. Older girl, probably had a heart attack. We found her out in the field. So that was very upsetting and part of the reason we stopped, which I will get back to in a minute. The other 3, which were Mary, Daisy, and Dash, just for a little recap on them. When we got them, Mary and Daisy, we were lied to about the amount of training that they got, and we spent a lot of time working with them, and we were not told that one of them, Daisy, was with a stallion and ended up being pregnant, which is how we ended up with Dash as well. These 3 kind of all ties into our reasoning for stopping the channel, so I'm just gonna drift for a couple minutes and come back to those 3. Back in, pretty sure June of 2024 is when I stopped uploading. The main reason was I needed a break. Things were difficult here. I had 9 horses during that time, and it was just a lot. Between taking care of that and uploading videos and dealing with everything else on the farm, it was a lot of work, and I was starting to get tired. Big part of that was just horses, particularly, I was having a lot of trouble with. I couldn't really do anything with pleasure with them anymore, especially just bringing them up for our daily breakfasts. It had started in October of 2023. My dad and brother Ryan went for a trip to LA, and I was here. My mom came to help for that week, but she's not much of a horse person, so I was kind of on my own for the horses. And the first few days were really great, but then we started getting some really bad weather. And horses aren't always cooperative in that, and they definitely weren't for those few days. They stopped cooperating with me. It was awful. We were still doing breakfast and supper time, so twice a day I had to come out, and it was just, horses running everywhere. No one was going where they were supposed to be, and that kind of started the whole thing. That pretty much lasted all winter long. We cut back on their supper meal because I couldn't take bringing them up twice anymore because it was just so unpleasant. And as you know, we did film through that entire time because I was still working a team or two almost every single day because I still enjoyed that part of it, even though I did not like bringing them up for the most part. Then, we found out that Daisy was pregnant, and that gave me a sense of hope that maybe this would change things a little bit and I would find my spark again. So that brings us to April of 2024 when Dash was born. We witnessed the whole thing. Daisy was here in her stall. She went down. Luckily, she got back up and we were able to get her into her pen, and we witnessed the whole birth. It was incredible, and I felt something in me like this was it. I was dealing with young horses like this and having this part of my life that this was going to happen. So just something woke up and I felt amazing about it. That lasted about 2 weeks. I started training Dash right away, haltering and stuff like that. And about 2 weeks in, I had a session, and it didn't really go that well. It's kind of strange because it's not like it was a big deal. Just picking up one of his back legs, and he kind of had a kicking freak-out session. And I was not happy with that in any way. I was very frustrated. As I was leaving his pen, I said that I do not want this in my future. Just to make a point on that, I have had multiple, rough or bad days working horses as teams, as singles, whatever. Just horses being uncooperative with me, things not going well. Not once have I ever told myself that I did not want that to be a part of my future, but I felt it with Dash, that this was not happening. And I did not work with him once after that. Things kind of started just getting worse after that. I started losing my passion for everything. I basically stopped working the horses a couple months after that, which is the beginning of June when we completely stopped because, as you got already, I was done. I was tired. I didn't really like my horses anymore. I still loved them, obviously, but wanting to spend time with them, wanting to work them, no, I didn't want it anymore. So that summer, just no filming. I needed a break. I apologize for not having said anything. I should have mentioned that I needed the summer off and given an update instead of just disappearing. I didn't do that, and I apologize. My plan was to come back in September of 2024 and just give a little recap and all that. And first week we lost Izzy, and that was really, really difficult. I haven't really talked through this much, so that was difficult. So as you can imagine, that week was really, really difficult for everybody here. I thought about coming back even that week with all of this going on, but decided not to because, again, I woke up a little bit and I just realized I do really love the animal and I want them in my life. and I had to focus on fixing my relationship with them. I just wish it didn't take losing her for me to realize that. He was one of my first 2 horses. First horse I ever fell in love with. She taught me a lot, and she deserved better from me for her last little bit here. Because like I said, I didn't really enjoy the horses that summer, and she didn't deserve that. That's why I didn't come back. I had to focus on the ones that I had left and fixing my relationship and bond with them. So that's what I did. It got a lot better. I still struggled with their daily breakfast. Still, 8 horses was still a lot to manage and take care of. But we went from September to around this time last year, 8, it was better. Like I said, I was still having issues, but it had gotten a bit better. But something still had to change, and we made the decision to sell Mary, Daisy, and Dash, which I think was a very good decision. At least for me, I needed them to go. And the reason it was those 3 and not, one of these 3 or something is because we didn't have them trained. We did not have the time, proper experience or proper facility to properly work with these 3 horses. We and they got super, super lucky though. Someone about half an hour from here decided to buy them, all 3. She had prior experience with drafts and was willing to put in the work to train them. We've actually visited them once since then, and she has sent us updates. They are doing great. So it was the best possible outcome for both us and them. They deserved better too, and they definitely got it. That happened beginning of 2025, and we basically just needed a year to reset everything. YouTube or any social media was just out of the picture. We had to refocus on the farm itself, the animals and all that, without having to worry about anything else. My dad will talk a little bit about some business side of things, so he'll talk about that in a little bit. But now, just to switch to something a little bit more exciting and happy, September 2025, so just a few months ago, I got surprised with something that I've been wanting for a very, very long time. I got surprised with a milk cow. Like I said, I've been wanting a milk cow for a very, very long time. And this is Sweets. She's 5 years old, right? 5 or 6. And we also got her calf. This is little Milky Moo. So I was beyond happy when we got these 2. I don't happy cry very often, like at all, but when I was surprised with these 2, I couldn't help myself. I guess when you want something for so long and you're surprised with it and you're just not expecting it, just emotions, you just can't control them. These have been like the best past few months. I absolutely love this. So happy we got into it. There will be plenty of content coming with both of these. Milking, cheese making, butter making, anything you could possibly imagine. And training this little one. She will be in about 2 years be put with our bulls, so to be our next milk cow. She's a Jersey Dexter calf, and Sweets over here is a Jersey. So she's come a long way so far. She wouldn't even come up to us when we first got her, just absolutely terrified. Now she'll come up and I can usually give her some scratches. And she has started at least licking the halter, so she's not absolutely terrified of it. That's the exciting thing that has happened. And other than that, not much has really changed over the last year and a half. It's kind of just been the same. We still have our 2 bulls, which is who Sweets is in with right now. We've got Titan right here. He's about 15 years old. I don't know how many of you have seen 15-year-old bulls, but I'd say he looks pretty good to be 15. We've had him for, what, 10 years now? Wow. 10 years. And over here, in front of Sweets, is Taurus, which is Titan's son, and he's about 8 years old.
In a couple weeks.
And yeah, in a couple weeks. Born and raised here. My dad actually had him on his lap the day he was born, because he was born in very cold, snowy weather, because that's when our animals like to have babies for some reason. He's doing really, really well too. And yes, we are in the pen with them. We trust them for the most part. Doesn't mean we don't watch or pay attention to them. They are bulls and they can be bully sometimes. But when they're, just eating or chewing their cud, it's usually it's fine. If they were fighting right now, we wouldn't be in there. So we still have our 2 dogs. They're only a little over 2 years old, but they were still small last time you would have seen them. Coco. So we still have Coco over here and Casey. We got them at the exact same time we got our boys over there, and they are doing pretty good too. Right? Here's a good little update for around here and just what's been going on. We're about to go feed with the horses, and we're going to take you along to give a little update on the other pigs and animals that we have around.
So, hey folks. So yeah, as you can tell from what Alexa just told you, was farming is like that. When you have animals, as much as there's a lot of joy and satisfaction, inevitably you're going to run into some tragedies, and they can kind of spin you for a loop. And I didn't grow up in this environment, so I'm just as new as Alexa is, and we've had more than our fair share of things go a bit sideways here. That's the one incident with Izzy. Was a pretty bad one, but there have been others over the years, and it kind of wears on you. So we just sort of needed a year to figure out exactly what we're doing here, and look for ways to make things a little bit easier. Farming can be very challenging at the best of times, never mind trying to pull it off in Northern Ontario. And so we needed to spend some time and figure out exactly where things were going to keep that joy there. And so yeah, we've done that, and there's a lot of exciting things that are coming up. It's why we've decided to not so much relaunch, but re-engage with our audience. We spent a lot of time on business planning as well, to see. We still have our pine needle business, which is central to our operation here. That hasn't changed, but we're going to be expanding that, as well as getting into a few new things, and we're going to bring everybody along for the ride. And it's also why, as Alexa mentioned, the content is going to be evolving along with the channel itself. Horses will always be central working draft horses will be central to our operation. But there's a lot of other things that are going on here, and so we're going to be sharing a lot of that with you as well. And in that spirit, the channel itself is going to change, including the name. Besides that, though, it should be fun. We think there's a lot of stuff that we want to share that will be very informative to people too. Outside of just what it's like to run a farm and a forest using draft horses, but everything else that not only they can do, but that we also do here as a family in our sort of day-to-day lives, I guess. And the plan is to share a lot of that with our audience as well. So come along for the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun.
As far as where the channel will be going, as my dad mentioned, the name will be changing, since it won't be just central to just working horses anymore, and it will be more the whole farm, along with a couple other things that I'll mention in a minute. Our channel name will be going back to our original farm name, which is Kipling Ridge Farms. And as far as content, like he said, the horses will still be shown a lot, the vast majority of the time, because we do everything with them, mostly everything. But we're going to start adding just more, like the milk. That's going to be a big part of the channel, just taking care of a milk cow, do what we do with all of the milk, and showing the pigs and what they do around here a little bit more. And I'm also going to bring in something new, which is working in the kitchen. I love working in the kitchen, and I want to share what I do in there and talk about health and the lifestyle that we live, along with maybe a few other things, like if I have some comments or views on something that's going on in the world, I might say it. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to, but I like talking about stuff like that, so that's what I'm going to do. I hope you will all follow along and enjoy it. So with that, let's go feed the animals and say hi to everybody. Breakfast time? These are 5 of our large black girls. 4 years. These girls don't have any names. We just refer to them as the black girls. That's this group. Here we have our 4 Kuni pigs. We have Riker, our male, Luna and Ginger, our 2 girls, and little Miss Piggy in the back. So these 3 are 10 years old this year. Little Miss Piggy there is, I think she was born this year, maybe last year, I'm not exactly sure. These are the only 4 of this breed that we have currently. They're all doing pretty good. So we used to have about 100 of these guys. When we were breeding and doing meat, this was one of the pig breeds that we were doing. And fun fact, there was once only about 50 Kunis left on the planet, and we had over 100 here. I think that's pretty cool. So the breed has made a bit of a comeback. They're a wonderful pig. They get about that size. They don't get much bigger than this. Some are a bit smaller. So if you live on a little farm and want some pigs but don't want big pigs, I suggest these guys. Super friendly, super calm, nice, and just awesome pigs.
my buddies, my boars. This is Rocky. He's a little big. My guess is he's, I don't know, 800 or 900 pounds at this point. He's 3 years old. From the moment he was born, he's a large black. He was born here, of course, and from the moment he was born, he was super friendly. They're not always like that, but he liked people right away. He was curious. So I kind of decided right then that he would stay, because I always want something around, someone, whatever, around like that. Here on the farm, they're just a joy to have. And right here is his dad, Borat, who he's been here since he was 4 days old, as part of the first pigs we ever got. He was a baby. With his dad and his mom, he came as part of a litter. And I went to the farm where he was born, and we knew we were buying those pigs, and I missed him as part of the group that I was castrating that day. And so he ended up also being super friendly, like Rocky is. And so I ended up keeping him, and he became our breeding boar for a number of years. He's going to be 10 years old this year. People talk about boars all the time, and he loves his back rubs and his belly rubs and stuff like that. We spend a lot of time in with them, handling them, petting them. They're like big dogs, or big, teddy bears or whatever. Not once has he, or certainly he, in the 10 years he's been here, shown any hint of aggression towards us anyways. Now, these two, they'll play, and they'll actually, when we first put them back together, they fought for a day or so, and Borat let Rocky know who was boss. Even though he's probably bigger at this point, he'll always be the boss until he's so old that he can't, necessarily handle it. Now, that being said, I still always have my eye on them. They're massive animals, and they can be playful, and they kind of like to, they might want to butt you around with their heads a little bit, and they would just toss me around like a piece of Kleenex if they really wanted to. I'm not like a little guy, but I'm nowhere near their size, and they're very, very dense and heavy and strong, and so, especially you can see how fast they can move, especially, at a time like this where they're kind of going back and forth from their food piles. You watch what they're doing. But if I was just coming in here and, they weren't eating or whatever, they would stand here, and they just love back rubs. It's a weird thing with pigs. For some reason, they love having their backs rubbed. Yeah. These 4 pigs, they're also pretty big. They're for meat. They're overdue. Just one of those things. There's 2 boys, 2 females in here. I probably should have done them in the spring or summer for sure. So there's going to be a lot of fat on them. That's okay. As you can see, usually they're not quite that big at slaughter time. And that'll be one of the videos we have coming up. Just showing you not the slaughter, but at least the butchering process, and all the different cuts that we're going to get out of it. They'll be mostly for sausage, but I'll probably keep a few hams and do a few chops, and of course the bacon. They don't have any names either, except for bacon, 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 and bacon, I guess. I don't know.
That brings us to the end of this video. That's the update. I'm excited for the next steps and moving forward with this channel, and I hope you are too. So I guess I will see you guys all in the next one. Enjoy your week.